Hello everyone and welcome back for another gameplay video. I've got a fantastic control matchup here. It's a little bit slow if you're not a fan of control, but for those of you who are, you're going to enjoy the game. If you can't tell by the title, I am playing my Azami. Oops, sorry, jumped through the first turn. Azami, Lady of Scrolls, against my opponents, Brago, King Eternal. A blue-white flicker deck that tends to try to abuse artifacts that their drawback is they don't untap normally. Things like Mana Vault, Grim Monolith, Basalt Monolith, along with other beneficial effects like Fiend Hunter, Reality Acid. Anything that benefits from ETB or LTB effects, Brago likes to take advantage of. I'm playing my typical Azami deck. I was just goofing around. I wanted to get online and just jam a few games to warm up. I just finished playing a game of Overwatch. I wanted to just relax a little bit, and I got this game, and I figured it would be a good showcase of control for you guys to see. Ignore my phone. All right, here we go. So my opponent leads turn 1 Floodplain, and I know it's going to be not as cutthroat a deck because they're playing this ETB tapped land. Snow-covered island. Alright, I'm going to represent Mana Drain here. You'll see I added Gilded Drake to the Azami list now that I have it in my collection. And I'm going to take full advantage of it this game. Command Beacon. I'm just going to keep hitting my blue land drops, ideal. Even though I could play the non-artifact land, my opponent's playing blue-white, and the chances of them having removal that they want to spend on this rather than something else is rather low, I believe. So my opponent is going to tap 4 for Hedron Archive, and despite the fact that I can Phyrexian Metamorph copy it, I'm behind the 8 ball there. I'd rather counter this, because if I don't, Miscalculation is going to start to rapidly lose its value. So I decide that Miscalc's going to trade for the Hedron Archive here. I'm going to drop the Reliquary Tower, and I think for a sec, and I kind of want my opponent to play Brago. And the reason I want that to happen is because my plan here is if my opponent taps down and puts Brago into play, I will Gilded Drake it, and next turn I'm going to have 6 mana, so I can Gilded Drake and then Venser bounce my own Gilded Drake back to my hand, so that way I can steal something else later. So then I'll end the turn with Brago plus Venser on board, even though I'll be tapped out. Then I can start using Brago Venser to bounce their lands back to their hand and really get ahead in the tempo race. So I decide to... let me see. It doesn't bug, I know. It worked fine. Let's see. There we go. I'm going to push Azami out here because this also guarantees that if I can get a hold of Brago, I have a draw 3 because well, the sequence will be play the probably Blighted Cataract first. I want to hide the fact that I have Riptide plus Venser because I foresee Venser coming down soon. If everything goes, if they tap out and play Brago, or tap down and play Brago, that is. I'll be able to use Azami to draw a card, use Venser to draw a card, then Brago flicker them, Venser bounce a land, and then draw 2 more cards. So, sorry, I'll be drawing 5 a turn, including my regular draw step. I don't see how my opponent comes back from that, especially when I'm keeping them perpetually at 6 mana, I would say, if they have a land drop here. So, I'm going to pick up the Cold Steel Heart, and I'm going to use this right away. Just I'd rather not be got by something that I don't foresee. There's no sense. My opponent goes with Reflector Mage, and this is what I talked about. Reflector Mage is one of those very good ETB effects that you can abuse with Brago's Flicker ability. Bounce the Azami back. That's alright. She bought me a land. My opponent has an Azorius Chancery. Very good target for Venser if I get to that land bouncing stage. I'm going to keep hitting my blue land drops, push the Cold Steel Heart, and I'm going to sit on Venser here. Because if they play Brago, I can Venser bounce Brago, or I can just sit on this Gilded Drake plan. And now Phyrexian Metamorph will do the same thing as Venser if I so choose, because I can Metamorph my opponent's Reflector Mage and bounce my own Gilded Drake. Now I wouldn't be able to cast the Gilded Drake the following turn, but that's alright. It means I save my flash for when I need it, and I can spend the Metamorph earlier. My opponent goes with Basalt Monolith and ships the turn again. Alright, I'm going to keep drawing these lands like a champ. And I decide now's the turn and I'm going to push Azami out. Even though it taps me down beneath counter magic, I have a very good follow-up turn, and Azami's going to draw me a card if she resolves, which she does. And I pick up Dismiss. Alright, so now I have 2 pieces of interaction, or I guess counters, a piece of interaction, and everything else. I think for a second, pass the turn. Reflector Mage in. Damage isn't going to be the deciding factor in this game, I believe. My opponent decides this is the turn to go for Brago. I've tapped down beneath 4. Maybe he'll resolve. I of course, let him go with his Gilded Drake plan coming. And my god, I have a beautiful turn coming up. So I think for a sec, I decided I'm going to draw first, play the island, Gilded Drake the Brago, Phyrexian Metamorph the Reflector Mage, bounce the Gilded Drake, use Reflector Mage to draw a card because it's a wizard, and ship the turn back. My opponent plays Azorius Guildmage. Alright, that's fine. And Fiend Hunter. And I make a little bit of a misplay here. So my plan was, I haven't shown you the target yet. If they target Brago, in response to the target, if they F6, Brago would be lost forever. Because my plan will be to use the 4 islands and flicker Fiend Hunter in response to the trigger once they select a target. So that way it can't bring Brago back. And it just removes it from my board. If they F6, the LTB will happen first, try to return a card that has not been exiled, and then the ETB will happen and exile Brago. And if they've changed Brago goes to exile instead of command zone, he'll be in exile for the rest of the game. Now, if they correctly change to command zone, Fiend Hunter just gets rid of Brago for good, and they'll have to recast him. They could use this command beacon to do so and put him down this turn off the Basalt Monolith. In that case, I can just Gilded Drake it again. So that's my plan if they target Brago. Now, if they target Azami, I'll let Azami get exiled to the Fiend Hunter, and then end of turn, use Venser, bounce the Fiend Hunter to get Azami back into play, and then I'll draw 2 cards off of it, because Azami will be untapped. They target Azami, and I forget to change Azami's goes to exile instead of command zone, and she gets put back. And I immediately realized my mistake because she didn't jump over underneath the Fiend Hunter. It's alright, though. We will power through. Pick up a Merge School. That's fantastic for a late game Cyclonic Rift if I need it, or to be able to go and get Mana Drain and flash it. I look how much I'm going to have after 7 mana, and I decide I don't want to tap down that low. I'm going to push Patron Wizard out this turn. Should have tapped the Cold Steel Heart instead of the island. Push Brago. Flicker my Reflector Mage. For Reflector Mage, back the Guild Mage. My opponent goes for, let's see, Ghostly Flicker on Guild Mage and Fiend Hunter. I'm going to decide to make a fight here. Dismiss that. And my opponent Otherworldly Journeys their Fiend Hunter, I'm guessing, to be able to get their Brago back, presumably. I pick up the Mana Vault off my draw, though, thankfully. So I'm going to drop the Mana Vault into play. That was from the Dismiss draw. And Otherworldly Journey is going to happen. Now, Journey's going to take away my Phyrexian Metamorph Reflector Mage. So I add a stop to my end step here. And my plan here, I'm going to Venser back the Fiend Venser the Fiend Hunter back to his hand. I get back Metamorph, use Metamorph to bounce Reflector Mage, and then they only have 1 spell that they're able to cast on their turn, which is Fiend Hunter exactly. Now they'll be able to try to flicker Brago out, but I'll be able to take Brago if they recast it. And then my plan is, if they don't do that, use Merchant Scroll to get Mana Drain, and just sit on Mana Drain for the rest of the game. I'm at the point of being able to Venser, Riptide Venser, because 1, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'll be able to Venser plus reset Venser every turn. And then I'll turn on this Bloody Cataract at a certain point. This Patron Wizard's also going to be doing good work, but in response to my Venser, my opponent scoops the game. And I think they sort of saw the writing on the wall. I got 3 cards, I think, off Azami over the course of the game. And sometimes getting 3 cards for almost nothing. I spent no cards doing it. I only spent tempo. Getting those 3 cards in a control matchup can be all it is. And I think 3 is right because I have 3 more in my hand than my opponent in this. And we're about parity on board. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, we're about parity almost entirely. But sometimes those 3 cards are all you need. And I really enjoy this game. Even though it's not one of my big, more blowout gameplays, I didn't have a fast mana start. We just played good Magic. And sometimes these control matches come down to who has more mana. And I don't think I missed a land drop the entire game, which is just a fantastic feeling in one of these games. And I wanted to show it because I got to add Gilded Drake into the deck, and I got to leverage Gilded Drake and got to do that pretty sweet take your thing and then bounce my own Drake back so I can use him again interaction. Overall, I hope you enjoy the gameplay. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video to anyone you think might enjoy my content, and keep the comments coming in down below. What misplays did I make besides my Azami forgetting to change her to Exile instead of Command Zone so I could do the Fiend Hunter play? What other misplays did I make in the game, and what do you want to see in the future? What videos are you craving? Which ones of my commanders would you like to see in the next one? And I will see you all in the next one.